So let us come back to the sheet, the coding sheet, and let's start working with the code. And again, I have little explain what is clustering. So this is clustering in machine learning. We have given an example too. So these are my points, and as per the similarities, you can see they are already creating a group kind of structure, and we can create this structure as per the similarities. We can say k value is 3 in this case for k mean, and we are saying that we have three clusters, and anything which is not in the cluster wandering out of it can also be considered as outline. For now, I'm not going to discuss that part. So let's move forward with the cluster part. It is not like this usually. It is sometimes like this, where the dots are really, close to each other. Original unclustered data looks like something in the left, where you see that the blue dots are, almost mixed with each other. Creating a cluster in such scenario takes time and takes patience. Usually, guys, if we do it manually, we will only do something like this only. That we will try to create a group kind of structure. Now you can create multiple cluster here. It is not bonded that you need to create three only. You can create multiple clusters too if you require that. Again, it depends how many labels you are looking for, and according to that label you decide which cluster you should be creating. Now this is what is happening. After that, in the right side image, you see we have red, blue and green cluster. We also notice some points which are really far away, which are also included in the cluster according to their position only. If you look at the x-axis and the y-axis, guys, I think it does make sense that these two green dots are in the green cluster because it is above. So, as per the access point, we have these two green points above, and we can see yes, it belongs to the above group. Now, guys, there are n number of ways of doing it. You can also say it belongs to the blue. This particular blue dot can be considered in green and blue both. Now, there's an algo, there's a pattern to do everything, and that is how it is getting decided. Let's not go too deep at the starting, but I hope you get the point here. We also have few points that we should be considering while working clusters. Clustering or cluster analysis is an unsupervised learning, and it is often used for data analysis technique for discovering interesting and similar pattern in data. Clustering is the task of dividing the popular or data points into the population or the data points into the number of groups as per the similarities. Now, guys, if you move forward, it is quite included that it is an unsupervised learning. Is a type, and clustering again. Uh, Unsupervised means, guys, it is unlabeled. So there is no label. By label, guys, if I give you an example again, that if you have age column and it is not written age over it, these are just numbers. Now you have 24, 34, 64. You cannot really predict anything about this number. You just know this is some sort of number. And now your intelligence level reduced to little bit because, guys, if you don't have the column name, it is very hard to predict what this number is really recommending. Now it can be a unique code, it can be number of quantities of something or something like that. It can be anything. Now the only way you can find the usefulness in that is you can find the similar patterns and you can work with those patterns, and that is what clustering is doing here. Clustering is an unsupervised machine learning task that automatically divide the data into cluster or group of similar items. Clustering is a guide by the principle that items inside a cluster should be very similar to each other, but very different from those outside. I hope this particular last line makes the complete sense. And let's move towards clustering. And while moving towards the clustering, we will discuss one algo too, that is k-mean, which is the main algo that we're going to work on. So let us move forward towards the coding part. So we will be using k-means, and to use k-means, we first require data structure. Data set basically, guys, and data set is not available like that. So we are creating it from our side, and we're using a big block data set. If you go on SQL and data set, we have n number of options to use from this data set part, and we have California housing, clear data home, convey data, scratch, and other things. We have these all load data set that we can use. Wine data set is also there, which is very famous, and so on. And if you want to know about data set, you can also go on the documentation. So if I really go on Google, you know, and search for data set this, and if sklearn opens it, let me check it. One second. I think no, not data set. I think that is main, and not toy. I want to move towards. One second. And we have, I think this one is better than, and we also have diabetic data set, which is very interesting. So guys, we get this kind of data set. So if you just click, rather than clicking on particular data set, we are clicking on this one. Okay. So we open the complete data set repository that we have, and it explains that what we have in this particular part. Now, if you just go on and learn a little bit about data set, you will see that clear data set loader, and you have already all contained in the data set. This is not the part that we're looking for. But if you go forward, we will see that we have, dummy data set is also the dummy estimators are also there, regression models are there. Again, ensemble models will not make much sense at the moment, but we have complete documentation. Now guys, the documentation does not make sense all the time. You need to do some R&D before it start making sense. If you click, if you just click on the data sets and stuff, you will get there. You start get idea about, okay, what it is doing, what it really means, and so on. And you can simply go and click on data set. You can learn about it. You can understand what it is doing, what it is saying, what it is telling about, and what this data set is all about. We can learn about that, and that is how you actually increase your knowledge. And moving forward, we have a lot, a lot data set that we can use. A lot of data set is there that we can use easily and work on. And I think, I hope you get the idea that we can, use any of it to work on. Every data set is its own type, and a blob is basically used when you want to use cluster, and it is specifically used there. I have also seen a table for this, but I'm not reaching a table at the moment. But I hope you get the idea that how it really works. So these are the documentation that you can always, I strongly recommend that whenever you have some time, come on the documentation. If not now, after having 5 months, 6 months of experience, come on the documentation, read the documentation, see what it is telling you, what it is explaining you, what you can do, what you can understand, and you can easily import all these data set and start working on it. It will give you a very clear and decent experience over it. And you don't have to clean it and do anything like that, guys. It is already clean and everything. You can just click on it. So we have also a low digit data set, which is very famous. Irish data set is very famous that we can use, and so on. So we can simply, create use this data set and use it accordingly. We can create cluster regression classification models as per this data set that is given to us. So let's not kill on time on this. I hope you get the idea what I'm saying. And let's get back to the code parts where we will discuss make block. So make block is a way of creating data set which have non-labeled data, that is unsupervised random data, and it is used specifically you can say for clustering part. So if you search for this data set and make blob dataset, okay, you will see that it is used for this part only. So if you just go and set the dataset, you will see that we have all these details given here, and make classification is also there, which can be used for creating classification. And this is the sample that is given to us, which we can use. Now I hope you get the idea what it does. So if you talk about make blob, we have n samples, 100 samples is maximum that we can use. Features are two. Centers you have to define if you want to. Cluster you have to define if you want to. Usually by default it is one cluster. Center box is 10. Shuffle random state, and I think you can use any of the details. To have more knowledge on this, you can simply go and read everything. You will get the clarity. But it is for later, not the starting step, guys. If you do this in the starting stage, you will only get confused. It's better to remain simple in the starting space. I'm using just center. So rather than one, I'm defining multiple centers. I'm using n sample 10. And this is what I'm getting. So guys, we use x make block. We give the center and the values, and it will make us that much value. So you can see m3 m3 9 and 3 10. We have 10 values like this, and each element is a set of two, which has you know values for you. Now, what you will do, you will just use this as a value as x independent columns values, and the y contains this number. It indicates in which class they belongs to. As we have kept the cluster 3, we are getting 0, 1, 2 here. And if you just go on and you can create an algo, and we are creating an k means creating the algo this, and defining that we are looking here at this moment for three clusters. That is what it means. If you go in the definition of this too, let me go back and shift up. It doesn't seem to open like this for the moment. Let's not kill time on that. Then I will simply go here, k means. Okay, 1 second. What I am here, cluster and keys. Okay, it will not give you definition like this. I mean, then like this too. Okay, my tab at the moment is not working. Let me open new tab then. Let me go to documentation then. That will be better. Perfect. So this is what I was looking for. It usually opens the definition by when you press shift tab, but it was not working at the moment. I don't know why. I think I have to refresh my file. That sometimes happens, so it's okay. And this is what I was looking for. I want to show you this, that it takes n clusters 8. If you're not defining it, it will be by default 8. Init is k mean, and other maximum iteration, how much are allowed, and all those things are there. So again guys, it has a lot of parameters that you can use, and modify according to your requirement. Again, we need to understand what are our requirements really, and when to use what, which is not very frequently used guys. First you can run it simply, and if you want to go deeper and deeper and improve again and again, you can do that. Usually guys, people try multiple algos rather than just digging in the single algo. One working on one algo is never that much efficient as it is to work on multiple algos and then conclude the result out of it. It is, according to me, a better approach. Okay, so what I'm doing guys, I'm just using k-mean and I'm getting the fitting part done. Once I'm done with the fitting part, I fit it km dot fit, and I get give x and y to it. Okay, and that is how we are getting the results. And moving forward, guys, we also use cluster. So n cluster dot and this zero. So it just filter out the values from the all the rows of the zeroth row and column basically, and these are the values that I'm getting out of the result. And it is cluster centers, so it will be printing the cluster centers for me. Now these are my cluster centers, and all I'm doing is predicting it and finding the values and putting the values there. So guys, let me run the cells. Let me run the cells again. So to run it, let me clear the output first. That will be better. Now let me run the cells and show you the output one by one. So once we are done with the import part, make block, we move forward and we create the cluster like this. Once we are done with that, we printed the x, and x has these values. They are all numbers, guys. Obviously, it's in cluster, so we don't have any labels. And y has these classes, so we are getting 0, 2, and 1. So these guys, it means these data points, each row wise belongs to one of these classes. It will belong to one of the classes, and that is what we need to find as per the data value. Now we will create a km objective of the class k means, and I have already shown you the definition. It is not working with the definition part at the moment, but if you press shift tab here, it shows you the value. Okay, k means is not defined. I think that is the issue. It is not imported yet. Okay, I didn't realize that, and that is why it was showing me the issue. Okay, I got the point now. From It will work for perfectly, I believe. Okay, that is the issue that I was getting the definition first initially, not issuing a definition. Perfect, perfect. So that is what I was missing there. Perfect. Let's also check if the question mark works on keyword argument. That is something that was happening that time. So okay means does it work this way? Yes, it is working now. Perfect. So both are working perfectly and no issues there. So guys, what was happening there that it was not working properly because I have not inputted the k-means algo at that time. Now I have inputted it and it is working perfectly. Okay, so this is my definition, complete definition. You can read it, you can gain knowledge from it. It is quite easy and better to go in the definition, read it a bit. Guys, again, don't go too deep inside this. It will only confuse you further. So you just get the idea, you can move on, and when you gain enough experience, you can come back and try it again. Okay, so moving forward, guys, let me also make it a comment so it do not run it again. Once the cell is run here, we can fit it, and it is fitted now quite fast. And we are moving forward. We are printing the cluster centers. So before this, if I just go for PM centers, let me show you that too, why we are doing it like this. So only go for cluster centers, guys. We are getting this, and these are for centers for each and every value. These are the y-axis and y coordinates, and I'm just printing a zero row, that is this row of that. Now there is no particular reason for that. I'm just doing it to see these left side values, all the values. Okay, then of course we have to use import, and I think scatterplot will not work because we have not imported matplotlib anywhere here at the moment. I've deleted some cells here, and that is why I think we are having this issue. So I have to import matplotlib too. Let me also import matplotlib. So from sklearn.mat. What I'm doing, not required. Matplot. I'm literally losing my mind today. So matplot, pyplot, sorry, pyplot, import. It as PLT. I think that is more than enough. I will use show plots. I'm not writing what happened. Directly by plot dot y from matplotlib dot pyplot import pld. It looks correct. What I'm missing, I think it is correct, and it is correct here too. Oh, SPLT, and it should be my bad. Again, guys, very awkward mistake. From matplotlib, import pyplot is not what I was you have to do. I got confused with sklearn here, so no issue with that. It is always import matplotlib, but pyplot as PLT. I don't know why I forgot that. It should not be happening, but okay, sometimes it happens. We are all developers. And okay, this is done. The import is done. Now we can move forward, and let's jump over the plotting area. So guys, in the plotting area, what I'm doing, I'm using scatter plot and giving my first coordinate, the first coordinate, giving my second coordinate. So guys, notice this very carefully. I am in X, I'm giving all the left first row data sets, first column data set of the center, and by x1 I'm giving all the right side data points. Once I'm done with this, I'm saying my marker will be star. I'm giving the size of 50, which is little big from normal, and I'm giving the color blue. Okay, this is my plot for this plot. So if I plot it alone, let me show you the plotted alone part. So my plotted arrow, it should be looking like this. Okay, this is my the main points that we have plotted from here. Okay, this is my plot. Now what we are going to do next is we are going to plot the centers. So guys, this is my x. These are my x coordinate. These are my cluster coordinate, which I'm going to plot. Okay, and let me plot it separately. So you know the size and stuff. And here is the plot. Now we will merge both together and we will print the cluster. This is my cluster printed. Now obviously we want to print it clearly, and if you want to print it clearly, we usually, you know, we can use the size. So it is scatter plot to size only from S, and say I'm creating the size of 100. It look good, and alpha is say 0.4. That should do. So it looks decent, far better. Let's make it, even bigger. So let me make it 400. It's better to create a bigger cluster. Usually I believe, the center point that you're creating in the plot that you're giving, the center point should be bigger than usual. The cluster points are bigger because, guys, we have a clarity. When you make it very tiny or even smaller than the dots that we have plotted, or equivalent to the dots that we have plotted, it it is hard to detect for few people. Okay. And we can also define, guys, we can also define one more thing here. Let's, make it red. So, oh, the argument will not be red here. uh, I made it. Second. Okay, it is working at the moment. I think the plus cluster. I'm sure this scatter should not give. Okay. Okay. All right. Yes. No issue. So for this and scatter, it's not to make it red. Let it blue only. Let make it this one red only. I want to make this one red, not that one red. So this should do perfect. So we have red color. We have red color, and the plots, the triangles that is our centers are transparent. That is where even the overlapping part, which is overlapping the star, is easily visible. So we know, okay, this is a separate thing. So I hope you get the idea how to print a cluster. And further, I think I'm just doing some rough items. I don't know why I'm doing it. I'm not supposed to print anything like A. It is not required at the moment. I don't know why I'm printing this. A, B, cluster block, make samples. Okay, okay, okay. None of the code is required after this. So this is the main thing that we need to do. And let's make it and. Okay, perfect. Perfect. So guys, I hope you get the idea. So how to create a cluster. And yes, few things that we have slipped with that importing is import pyplot as PLT, which I tried from, which is not required. I mean, guys, this is the right way of doing it. That was a slip. I don't know why it happened. So that it happens. Okay. And make block. This is my block, and this is the data set that we have created. So we have generated this data from this method, and once we are done generating the method, we have divided the independent with the dependent columns. This is the dependent centers. These are the class you can say that this value will depend will belong to. Then came mean, cluster, then fit, and then this, and so on till we find the centers. Once we find the centers, we just plot it like this. Okay, we plot it like this, and that is how we get such decent values. I hope you get the idea. So these are my centers. If again, I think it will make more sense. Look at the triangle that we have at the original size. We are not making the marker size anything. So when you try this small size, the triangle size, you guys think about it. In front of this star, the triangle would have looked very small. So divide by editing the color and transparency and size, we got a far more better plot. That is what I was talking about. I hope you get the idea. So this is, I think this is all for this video. That is k-mean algorithm that we have tried, and we will try the other algorithms which are more fruitful in the same sheet, so on. And let's move forward, guys. Thank you for watching this video. See you in the next video, guys. Thank you.